Oh man, Fizz. If only we could hear your beautiful voice right now. That is such a shame, but hey, we're live. We gotta
That's it,
keep
baby.
going.
You know we don't do no retakes. You know how we get down, baby. Like I said, welcome to the damn tight end massacre, baby. I did Texas Chainsaw tight end massacre. I could rewind it, but we gonna keep it how we keep it because you know how we do, Rob. When we bring that plate out, they might say, "Hey, man, this ain't the right one, man. Can you bring this back in the kitchen?" We ain't gonna make it new. We gonna season it back up and chop it on up and make it look just like it was before, baby. So that's what we here. They're not to remix it, but to bring it back and keep doing what we doing. And that's what the people love, baby. They love the vibes. But I just want to let y'all know, man, this ain't about me. This ain't even about the tight end. This is about my boy in the kitchen over here. Mr. Chainsaw himself, man. T-Rock is in the building. Rock, man, let us know what we about to get into. Break it down for us and give us a little description before we start going crazy over the position that everybody said doesn't matter, man.
Well, I do appreciate you, Fizz, and also to all the great and wonderful people who are tuning in for our first pre-recorded video. Obviously, it went off with a little bit of a snafu. I bet those people in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if they fell down while they were being chased, they would have been like, "Oh, let me get a retake." No, there is no retakes. We're gonna
Yes,
keep going
sir.
forward. So, my name is T-Rock. This is Fizz, and we're gonna be getting into the position that everyone says does not matter whatsoever. But hey, Fizz, they sure as hell matter in 2025. I tell you
Right.
that. So it was awesome being able to get into all this research. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be getting through my patented process that I'm very proud of, where you're able to glean from it the best buys, the best sells, the players who are going to be winning you a championship, and the players who are just dead weight. You got to leave them behind. Save yourself, Fizz. So that's what we're going to be getting into. So we're going to start off the show with a deep dive into each of my metrics. Then we're going to get into the buys. Then we're going to get into the sells. So the best way that I operate is I like to know for my process which metrics can be found are the best of each position, Fizz. So if you finish the year in the top 12 at your position in points, I wanted to see which of those metrics you were top 12 in as well to try to correlate the metrics with fantasy production. So I break it down into four metrics, four tiers, as you may: strong indicators, fair indicators, faint indicators, and some considerations for you to think about, some tiebreakers. Lastly, the playoff schedule. It's going to be very, very important if we want to get these guys that are going to take us to a championship, Fizz, what their schedule is going to look like. Is it going to be sunshine or is it going to be dark and stormy? So that's what we're going to get into. But before I start breaking all this data down, Fizz, and all the top players in each of these tiers, I want to ask you, what are your feelings as a whole on the tight end position in 2025? Is it what you expected or is it not what you expected?
Well, I'll just say starting off, bro. I've always, like I told you personally, I've always loved the tight end position because I wanted to play tight end. So I've always had a soft spot for these guys, even when the data told me not to, right? I ain't gonna lie. I fought the data on it because I love the tight end position. This is why I'm a Kyle Pitts fan, because you can't steer me wrong. But I will just say in 2025, I do believe if you got those tight ends that no one told you to get, you're winning your championships or you're on a road to a championship currently. We talked about it on previous shows, those TJ Hawkinsons. We all heard that's the biggest steal in the draft. Go get Hawkinson because he's so ranked low, but he's going to give you so much production. JJ McCarthy, love the tight end. TJ Hawkinson plays tight end. Evan Ingram, man, the Joker, Sean Payton, he loves his tight ends, right? We heard a lot of these, and I contributed to some of those remarks as well. But I'll just say in 2025, we will get into the buys and the sales, but for the most part, I want to say I think even though the guys I mentioned aren't having the best season, there are a lot of other names that are, and maybe it's a smokescreen. Maybe it's a little fugazi. We don't know. That's why Rock is here to give us the process. Because some of these guys, I'm starting to think every week I think is locked in. My boy is about to change my mind and say, yeah, temper that down a little bit, big dog. So, but 2025, this is the year of the comeback of the tight end position, 100%. If I had to say so, brother.
Well, what you're seeing on the field, Fizz, does match up with the data. This is one of the best tight end years that we've had in about 4 or 5 years. We have quite a few number of tight ends, a lot more than in recent years that are projected well over 1,000 yards. So definitely one of the stronger positions in 2025, despite their hate in the dynasty streets and the market. So let's get into it right now. Let's going to start off with a baseline, Fizz. My baseline for my process is points per game. So the way I'm going to break this down, I'm going to go through the top 6 for each of these metrics, just so that this isn't too long-winded. I'm going to start off with the best at each metric. So the baseline, Trey McBride and Tucker Kraft are both at 16.2 points per game. This is in PPR formats. And then you have Jake Ferguson, the guy on the thumbnail, 15.1 points, then Dallas Goedert, then Tyler Warren, and ending things off in the top 6 is Travis Kelce at 12.8 points. So that's our baseline, Fizz. Now we're going to get into the really good stuff. So a strong indicator in my process, 67% of the top 12 tight ends at the end of the year in points were top 12 in these metrics. So these are pretty good metrics, Fizz. Let's start off with target share. Trey McBride is number 1 at the tight end position in the NFL. 26% target share for the Arizona Cardinals, Fizz. That's pretty insane. You have to go down another 6 whole percent before you get to number 2. That's Brock Bowers. We haven't seen much of him this year. He is still amazing, 20.5%. Then you have yours truly, Kyle Pitts. He is 3rd in the league, Fizz, at 20.2%. Then you have Warren, then you have Ferguson, and then you have Dallas Goedert. So Kyle Pitts, he does have some elite measurables, Fizz, when it comes to his analytics. I'm sure you're glad to hear that.
Hey, Rob,
one
second, brother.
Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?
My boy is cooking over here, man. I just had to let the people know, baby. When you start talking Kyle Pitts, you will get some noise up in here, baby.
Pretty awesome to see. He is having a bounce back season. Love to see it. Yards per team pass attempt. Tucker Kraft is number 1 in the NFL at tight end, 2.2 yards per team pass attempt. Then you have Tyler Warren, Brock Bowers, Dalton Kincaid, Trey McBride, and Sam Laporta. Another huge thing, Fizz, is red zone targets. You know, these tight ends, they don't always get the most receptions. They don't always get the most yards, but hell, they are amazing big targets in the red zone. So leading the league, 13 for Trey McBride. Then you got Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson, Tyler Warren, Theo Johnson, Oronde Gadsden, Travis Kelce, Hunter Henry, and Mason Taylor finish out the elite tier with 8 red zone targets. And then to finish off the strong indicators, receiving snaps. We don't want tight ends that are always going out there just to block, Fizz. You don't get any points for blocking. You get points for going on routes and getting catches. So leading the league in receiving snaps, Cade Otton out of Tampa Bay. They've been really needing him with all the injuries they have in Tampa Bay and Cade Otton. So he's at 273, Fizz. Then you have Juwan Johnson, Trey McBride, Travis Kelce, Mason Taylor, Jake Ferguson, Theo Johnson rounds out this list with 240. So those are my strong indicators. What are your initial thoughts before I get into the fair indicators, Fizz?
Well, that's that you just brought up about Cade Otton. I like hearing names like that because instantly, I'm not saying that that's oh my God, I gotta go get Cade Otton, but I like when guys that we think aren't doing much or aren't doing anything come up in different metrics because now I might have overlooked them. I might have had a late round pick that I was just looking for a tight end to get me by a week or two. Now I hear that, let me start checking in at Cade Otton a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So I like hearing names like that, man. That get my mind sparking, man. Get me started wondering, looking at who has 5 tight ends and Cade Otton is their last one. I might break a quick deal with them. So I just like hearing stuff like that, man, for the guys that we sleep on the most and help us out the most when we need them.
Yeah, there's just so much talent in the NFL, Fizz, at each position. So just to be able to see some of the guys that we don't always think about, those household names, get some of their flowers for what they're doing. it is great to see, and that's another reason why I absolutely love analytics. So, Fizz, we're going to get into our fair indicators. So, 50 to 58% of the top 12 fantasy tight ends were top 12 in these categories that I'm about to go through. So, air yards percentage, lead in the league, 27.2%, Trey McBride. Then you have to go down a whole 7% before you get to number 2 in Dalton Kincaid, Brock Bowers, Dallas Goedert, Darren Waller. He left the recording booth and is now catching deep passes from Tua Tagovailoa. Oh my God, I can't believe I said his name right. And then rounding out this list is Hunter Henry. Then we have yards per route run. We have Dalton Kincaid at the top at 2.84. Then we have Tucker Kraft, Oronde Gadsden, please stand up. And then his fellow rookie counterpart, Tyler Warren. And then we have Brock Bowers right there. And then in targets per route run, we have Jake Ferguson leading the league, 0.26. Then we have Dalton Kincaid, Harold Fannin Jr., Trey McBride, Evan Ingram. So those are my fair indicators. There's only 3 of them before we finish out these. Did you have any thoughts on air yards percentage, yards, or targets per route run, Fizz?
Well, Jake Ferguson, I'll say this, hearing that, it reminds me of thinking of who's the quarterback and how much they throw the ball. Like Jake Ferguson leading that is not a surprise because Dak is literally striking. And CeeDee Lamb was gone, right? So when you're thinking about that statistic specifically, just think of the quarterback, man. Who's really throwing the ball and who's going back there, airing it out every time. Even little Kyler, right? We know he can't throw much across the middle, but he can air it out when he wants to. So, just hearing those names, I'm not saying according to this stat, but maybe you got another one for me, brother. Is one name I'm not hearing on this list that I'm seeing burning up fantasy charts and lineups. That's Harold Fannin, man. I'm waiting to hear some Harold Fannin news, baby. Do we got some Harold Fannin love in one of these statistics or what?
Well, I did name him. Where was he? Harold Fannin.
I think I missed that one because I've been waiting to hear him, man. I know he's
route run.
Okay, there we go. All right, I just because I know that's a name that people, when you think about the Browns, you instantly just forget everything, right? So I just want to remind and make sure Harold Fannin was somewhere, man, because he is them young rookies, Gadsden and Fannin right now, Tyler Warren. Hey, them young rookies is killing right now, man, at tight end.
They are. This is also, too, we talked about 2025 and just this season in general. We had the best season from a tight end ever in Brock Bowers last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Tyler Warren. We have Harold Fannin. We have Oronde Gadsden. Even Mason Taylor having a productive season. So this has been one hell of a year for the tight end position, especially the rookies tight ends. So if you do allow me, I would like to let's finish off some of these metrics right here, and then we can get into the real meat and potatoes, the real buys and the real sells, what we're going to do with this data. So average depth of target, ADOT. Darren Waller leads the league at tight end with 13 average depth of target, 13 yards. Then you have Dalton Kincaid, Colson Loveland, 9.7. Spoiler alert, that might be the only time you hear his name throughout the show. There's just not, unfortunately, been enough of a sample size with him, but I had to include him just because of where he's ranked in Dynasty.
Not a lot of love in the land, Rock, over there. You feel me? Not a lot of love.
Well, it's because your boy Cole Kmet has just kept him off the field. He's just been too damn good.
Whoop,
that's all it is.
Baby. There we go. And he coming back this week. Let's get it, Rock. Go ahead, keep going, big dog.
Yeah. And then you got Hunter Henry. He rounds out this list with 9 yards average depth of target. Now, very similar to receiving snaps, I like to look at Fizz pass blocking percentage. I don't like my tight ends doing a whole lot of pass blocking reps. So lead in the league, well, actually, I should say at the bottom of the league is Zach Ertz. He has pass blocked on 0.8% of his snaps, which you love to see. Then you have Darren Waller, George Kittle, Dalton Kincaid, and Trey McBride rounds off this list at 1.7%.
Well, you did name all the old guys to the top 3, so we don't have time to be blocking, coach. We're too old for that mess, all right?
That is, I didn't notice that, but that is a really good takeaway right there.
Yeah.
I think that is the common denominator amongst that group. This one is a lot of fun. Yak per reception, Fizz. There's one and one guy only it is Tucker Kraft, the Yak God. He is so damn good. He averages 11.2 yards after the catch per reception, Fizz. The next closest one is outside of the top 6. That's Tyler Warren at 7.9. So he's got that all to himself. Tucker Kraft has been absolutely amazing when it comes to explosive plays. Tight end team usage. So these last ones, these are considerations, Fizz. A huge influence for me is Hayden Wink's research at Underdog, where he looks at neutral pass rate, tight end team usage, expected points, and production ranks. So that's what we're going to get into right now. Lead in the league in tight end team usage are the Arizona Cardinals for Trey McBride. Then we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 2 for Freiermuth and Jonnu. And then you have the Browns with Harold Fant and David Njoku. Surprisingly, Chig Okonkwo and the Tennessee Titans are number 4. And then number 5, who I was just talking about, Tucker Kraft and the Green Bay Packers. Now, the neutral pass rate have on here, it's Noah Fant is number 2. There is no number 1 because the number 1 team, I do believe, is for a position that actually isn't ranked in the top 32. So I left them off. Noah Fant, Cincinnati, number 2. Travis Kelce, number 3. George Kittle and Jake Tonjes are number 4 for the San Francisco 49ers when it comes to neutral pass rate. Tyler Warren is number 5. And TJ Hawkinson, the Minnesota Vikings, are number 6 when it comes to neutral pass rate. So those are all team stats, Fizz, between team usage and neutral pass rate. Here, let me finish this off real quick when it comes to expected production and actual production. So actual production, where it shows up in the fantasy points, Tucker Kraft is number 1. Trey McBride is number 2, according to Hayden Winks. Oronde Gadsden, he has his number 3. Travis Kelce has number 4. Dallas Goedert, number 5, and Tyler Warren, number 6. But when it comes to expected points, number 1 is Trey McBride. Tucker Kraft is number 2. So those flip. And then David Njoku, surprisingly, is number 3 in his process. Dallas Goedert is number 4. Mason Taylor is number 5. So I knew I just threw a lot of data and numbers at you, Fizz. Let's take a little bit of a breather. Let's decompress. What do you think of some of those things that I just threw at you with those last few metrics there?
Well, again, this is all great information because, again, the tight end position, bro, is just so overlooked. I think we came into this season thinking about Brock Bowers. Some people were taking him before Jamar Chase in some mock drafts, before Justin Jefferson. First round, especially in the tight end premiums, of course. I'm not talking about regular tight end leagues, but I'm just saying we've seen them kind of rise and we've seen them kind of fall, but it was really no middle. We even had not confrontations, but back and forth with people about Jake Ferguson. Why are you taking him? Hunter Henry, why is he on your list? Like, we've seen certain people and certain players. Harold Fanning, right? Who would have thought that he'd be outplaying Njoku on weeks and consistency of being the second tight end who nobody even wanted to be on the team? Because why are you drafting one when you have David Njoku? So just hearing these names, seeing what we're seeing as far as the data goes, I like hearing it because it's always an eye opener, especially to a guy like me who raises their hand in class and say, I don't care about the data. I always go with my guy. I like hearing the data though, because it brings me back down from the cloud of, all right, let's restart and really start getting into what we're doing here. And when I'm hearing these certain names, if I may have overlooked them because I didn't like the team or it's not my guy, not my player, listen to what you told me. Now in reality say, all right, I'm telling in real life, yeah, I ain't rocking with them, but I'm going to my sleeper team and I'm really sending offers behind the table that nobody know I'm sending. So I'm saying that to say I like the list of names. The old guys, the Dallas Goederts, like I said, the Harold Fant. I like talking about the rookies, to be honest. I keep bringing up Harold Fant's name, but I just like hearing the young guys who they were going in third rounds of rookie drafts, and now I haven't drafted. We ain't drafted in a couple of weeks, but I'm pretty sure that's going to go up a little bit. So I like what I'm hearing right now, bro. And of course, man, let's show some love to the tight ends, baby. All right, let's bring some love to the land out there, man, in Chicago and all the rest of the places, bro.
Absolutely. And what you're getting at that I absolutely do appreciate is, all this work and research and analytics, it is one of the pillars of a process. It's not everything, which is what you're bringing up. If you take this and you combine it with the warp tool at South Harmon that Coop has developed, if you then also too listen to research from other people around the space who, have their own process, and then also too, if you watch the game with your own two eyes, and then lastly, have players that really, pull at your heartstrings, that are your absolute favorite, your the guys that you go to war with. If you have all those things together, that's what makes for your ultimate decision in buying or selling a guy, I think, or having them on your team is a better way of saying it, because no one way of this process or everything that I just listed is the whole thing, So it's just like you have to be well rounded when it comes to making your decisions in fantasy football and dynasty football. So, and that one other thing, when I got tripped up when it came to neutral pass rate, I don't have any Los Angeles Rams ranked in the top 35. That's the reason why I left them off the list. No Tyler Higbee, no Ferguson.
Yep.
Yeah, none of them. So, but they are number one in neutral pass rate. So maybe you can just skip off the LA Rams just for the time being. But Fizz, that's all the data I have. Do you want to get into these buys?
Yeah, no doubt. And I did want to say before we go into the next one, what you just said, right? Putting everything together, all the data, drafting how you want to draft, playing how you want to play, getting the warp tool. No one way is the right way. And if you aren't in the capability or the mind to want to figure that out or can figure that out, that's what you got us for. So everybody on this channel, the other South Harmon channels, everybody has a different perspective of how they play. So when you watch all of us, man, you put all of it in one bag and there goes your tricks, baby. So no treats over here. You feel me? So, Rock, let's get it started, big dog. Let's get to the players, man. Are we going with the buys or the sells first, big big?
Let's do the buys first. We'll end on a bad note, We'll start with a good note.
All right, man. So you let me know, brother, who we buying first? That's what I want to ask you. I know we got the top dogs, but it's a lot of cashola getting spent, man. If you want to buy some of these guys, I thought you was going to buy. So who we rolling with first as a buy? And tell me why it's going to cost us an arm and a leg, bro.
So the guy that scored by far the highest in my process is Trey McBride out of Arizona. And the nice thing also about him too is that he has an okay playoff schedule, Fizz. His last game is going to be a lot more favorable. Man, I should have pulled up the schedule. I just wrote down numbers, Fizz. So he's got a 12 when it comes to his playoff schedule. I'll have to look that up in a second. But after him, these are the elites of the elites. So these are guys that you're going to have to, sell your soul to be able to get. So you have to ask yourself, is it going to be worth it? Trey McBride, it actually might be. I think he's a huge difference maker.
He plays the Cincinnati Bengals on the championship week.
There we go.
Week 17 is if you play week 18. I'm sorry for your league, but in week 17, if you're playing a real league, it's the Cincinnati Bengals.
So with the playoff schedule, I looked at the last 5 weeks from 13 to 17. So I appreciate you looking at that. Yeah. Tyler Warren has an even better playoff schedule. He's also one of the elites of the elites. He scored 86, so that's 8 points behind Trey McBride. And then right after him is Tucker Kraft, who actually has an even better playoff schedule than Tyler Warren. But yeah, those are the three elites of the elites that the reason why I'm naming them is because not only are they ranked very high in Dynasty, but the data matches from what I can see what their price is worth. So if you really want an elite tight end, go for McBride, go for Warren, or go for Kraft. Those are the guys that I'm considering at the top. So I didn't. There is no name at the top right there that usually is. That's Brock Bowers. He did not score as high for me, but a lot of that has to do with injury.
Exactly.
He only scored 58 in my process. That's good enough for ninth in my metrics for this year. But yeah, those are the three guys I feel the most comfortable with. So Fizz, are you willing to pay the iron price to acquire any of those three guys?
Well, I just say this, right? I wanted to bring up McBride because when you brought his name up, it made me think you're not saying he's not a buy, but what you're saying is when we talking the elite of the elite, what's currently happening right now before our eyes, not what we think's going to happen, not what we saw last year, what we're watching every single Sunday for the last couple of weeks between McBride, Warren, and Kraft. That's why you're buying these guys. So I just want to reiterate and remind that that's why Brock Bowers, who is probably a buy because he's probably a little cheaper with the injury. But we talking about guaranteed locked in. I'm gonna buy this to win it all type of player. And I'll just say this: if I'm gonna spend the big bucks, the big cash on the rock, I'm gonna go with the best, baby. I gotta go with McBride because I'm not saying Warren isn't good. Daniel Jones is proven a lot of us wrong this year, and the whole offense in general. I'm not saying Tucker Kraft isn't good because I believe he's their number one target on the team, period, outside of all those other receivers they have. But if I want to make sure I'm a down the hill, if I trade my soul and go get a guy, it's going to be the number one guy at the position. Because if Tucker Kraft, I go sell, let's just say someone values McBride and Kraft the same, and they have both of them, and they say, listen, you could pick one or the other. I want McBride because if I get Kraft and he has that bad week, or Jordan Love decides his arm isn't as strong as we thought, or Josh Jacobs wants to run 3 touchdowns and mess the whole game up for me, I can't live on that hill knowing McBride probably had 13 targets and 8 catches all those weeks in the playoffs run. So I'm going to have to step up and say, if I had to buy one guy out of this tier, I'm going McBride because I got to go with the best, or we'll figure out the rest. But if I'm gonna chop off my arm and my leg with this massacre, baby, I'm going with Trey McBride, man.
You're just like me. You're a buy once, cry once type of guy. That's what I always use as an excuse whenever I want to buy something super expensive and I have to ask the wife for that little bit of money to be able to, make that go through. So, no, I absolutely do appreciate that. I think that's a good discussion. Now,
and I did want to let everybody know why I had the numbers at tight end too. That's from Keep Trade Cut. That's not my boy Rocks and like Rankins. I just want to let y'all know that that's Keep Trade Cut. So if you don't like the way it's ranked, it's your fault, right? Keep Trade Cut is for the audience. Y'all need to raise them up to tight end 1. But Rock doesn't have him at tight end 2. So I just want to let y'all know that this isn't his rankings, just to give you a reminder.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is too. It's a good disclaimer, Fizz, is that this is based off of production in 2025. This doesn't necessarily have to do with dynasty sentiment and market value. So
here we go.
The main takeaway is if one of these guys is ranked high in my process and is ranked low in dynasty rankings, that's one hell of a buying opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
If one of these guys is ranked high in dynasty ranks and ranked low in my process, well, maybe you should consider selling them off and try to get something a little bit more productive on your team. So why don't we move off of those elites of the elites? Probably not too many people are going to be buying them, Fizz, with where they're ranked right now. Let's go to the next tier, which I think people are going to be a lot more interested in. How about elite production and discounted price?
There we go.
Fizz, Dallas Goedert and Travis Kelce ranked 4th and 5th. Oh my God, that scared the hell out of me, Fizz. I literally thought I was burning up.
Hey, man, it goes down in Texas, baby. It's a massacre everywhere, all right?
I thought I was on my way to hell right just that second. But yeah, Dallas Goedert.
There we go.
He is number 4 in my process. He scored a 72, Fizz. The playoff schedule is okay for Dallas Goedert. He does have a much easier matchup in weeks 16 and 13.
Mm-hmm.
In 13, he's going up against Chicago, and in 16, he's going up against Washington. Those are a lot more forgiving when it comes to the tight end position, what they allow. But Travis Kelce, man, he just keeps doing it. He's fresh off his most productive game of the season. And we said this last night, Fizz, and I think this is going to be one of our mantras that I think really helps people out when it comes to simplifying the game.
Mm-hmm.
Go for guys that are top 3 in their offenses.
Yep.
We talked about earlier with Tucker Kraft. I mean, on any given week, Jordan Love or Josh Jacobs is going to be the most productive player on the Green Bay Packers. Tyler Warren, you have to at least say he's behind Jonathan Taylor. but he is probably just only behind Jonathan Taylor. Trey McBride is number one on his offense. There ain't no one else that you want on the Arizona Cardinals other than Trey McBride. Now, Dallas Goedert and Travis Kelce. Kelce, I think it's Mahomes and it's Rice, and then maybe you get to Kelce. But Dallas Goedert, unfortunately, he is a little bit behind. I mean, I would rather want Hurts. I'd rather want Devontae Smith. I'd even rather want Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown. So at very best, he is the fifth best playmaker on his team. But despite that, despite that, I still think he is worthy of a bye because he is absolutely killing it this year. He's one of the most productive tight ends. He's had multiple games with multiple touchdowns. So when it comes to spike weeks, he's been one of the best in the NFL. But what do you think of Goedert? What do you think of Kelce? Especially with their prices, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I discussed this with you in the middle of a show recently. Now, this is a 3-point tight end premium with Dallas Goedert putting up 45 points, right? He's out there. He's doing his thing. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we talked last night about cross positioning, right? When we making trades, do you trade Dallas Goedert to tier up or down tier, or do you go to a whole another position? And with it being the 3-point tight end premium, I traded Dallas Goedert and Jaden Higgins for Devonta Smith. Same team, same offense. It's a 2-point receiver premium. So 2-point PPR for receivers, 3-point for tight ends. I'm saying that to say I didn't say, okay, let me down tier from Goddard and go to a different tight end. Let me just get off the position. One, I have enough. But two, I wanted to get a receiver because when I needed it, and I just trust the longevity of Devonta Smith versus Dallas Goedert, especially Goddard always battling injuries. And this just so happened in 2025 seems to be a year where, yes, he's missed a game or two, but he is on point every single week. The running game isn't as consistent as last year, and Goddard has stepped up. So that could honestly be a neutral trade, but I'm just saying if you're going to trade off of a Dallas Goedert, maybe you look to cross the position versus down tiering or up in the tier because, like you said last night, bro, sometimes it's not always good to just swap a tight end for a tight end. You might need to go to a whole other position, and that's the way you win the trade. So the focus back on Dallas Goedert, though, this is the year of Dallas Goedert, and plus he with number 88, baby. So you know he one of them dogs, all right? But yeah, I like Goddard. I like Kelce as well. I would just say you trust the quarterback. In this problem, Rock, you like both quarterbacks, Pat Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. So it's a win-win with both of these guys, if you're asking me. Win-win, Dallas Goedert and Travis Kelce. I'm going with Mahomes. I'm going with Jalen Hurts. If you want to swap, we can swap. But I would prefer if I had to sell one of these guys, I'm changing positions. And if I had to buy one, I will be swapping another position to get a tight end. But I don't think we should cross position with this tight end tier because honestly, it's kind of mute production at the end of the day.
Yeah, the other thing is that's pretty crazy too, Fizz, is that when you go to Keep Trade Cut to see where he is out in the rankings, there is not a single player around. He is 157. I'm talking about Goddard. There's not a single player around him that I would rather have over Goddard.
Yep.
And there's not a single player definitely around Kelce at 185 that I would rather have.
Yeah, that's why I say you either swap those two guys or you just trade or just keep them. You know, like.
Or you trade for them. Those are the only two things that you should be doing with either of these guys, Fizz, because you're just not going to get what you want in return for either of these guys. And also, too, shout out to our guy, D-Bro, who, you know, me and him, we went back and forth. We were in a embittered battle between Dallas Goedert and Hunter Henry, who was going to be the better value.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry has been a solid value, but holy shit, D-Bro. You were definitely right about Dallas Goedert. So I do apologize about that. And got into the metrics to be able to see how wrong I was. So shout out to you.
There we go.
Fizz, I'm going to go into my next tier, which is what I call the great but not cheap tier. So at the top of this one, the number 6 tight end in my process, Dalton Kincaid. Fizz, can you name anyone who I've talked more shit about in the tight end position than Dalton Kincaid?
You said Dalton Kincaid. I'm sorry. I was thinking about Hunter Henry. You just brought Hunter Henry. You threw me off. I had this Hunter Henry up. Bro, Dalton Kincaid, that has got to be because now I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna keep it short. When you talked about the tight end rookies earlier, and you talked about this year's class, remember the other class with Kincaid, Laporta, the Tucker Crafts, right? We had that class that we thought couldn't get no better. And then we had Brock Bowers kind of by himself last year. And then this year, it's looking like not as good as that class, but it's looking real close, man. So I say all that to say this class and the Brock Bowers kind of era kind of made us forget that Dog Kincaid was even around, man. Like, we just kind of like brushed him off as a one and done in a sense, and not knowing if Josh Allen's even going to stay consistent with him. But surprisingly, man, it looked like Kincaid might be waking his way back, man.
I mean, I think that the freaking Buffalo Bills also forgot about him too, because it's been all Josh Allen and all James Cook the last 2 years. And Khalil Shakir has been eating Don Kincaid's lunch for the last couple of years as well. And it made sense because, he wasn't able to do anything better at the pass catching spot than Shakir. So it's just like, if you're going to pass over the middle, why not go to Shakir, who can get open a hell of a lot easier than Kincaid? But Kincaid, he's carved out a role. Yep. He's taken that next step. And I haven't eaten that L on Keon Coleman, but I will eat that L by Dalton Kincaid. He has shown a lot more than just one blow-up game, Fizz. So the other nice thing about him, too, he's got one of the best playoff schedules for the whole rest of the year, Fizz. So weeks 13 through 16 are all prime. So he plays Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, New England, Cleveland. Those are all top 10 as far as favorable matchups. Now, the only thing that's tough, are you willing to bet on Dalton Kincaid in the championship when he goes up against Philadelphia? That's the only thing. That is a tough matchup for a tight end. So keep that in mind. The other one at number 7 in my process, Fizz, he's not going to be cheap. Harold Fannin Jr. Now, he has been absolutely fantastic, Fizz. He does have a fantastic week 17 matchup. And he scored very, very well in my process. So he also scored very, very highly when it came to my tight end rookie ranks, Fizz. And he's the most productive tight end I've ever seen. And he broke a shitload of records when he was at Bowling Green. So, I mean, he was the most productive receiver, regardless of tight end or wide receiver.
And Rob, because he had one bad Senior Bowl, people thought, or combine, people thought he was just terrible, right? He was a bad guy because of one bad day at work. He's trash now.
Yeah, and it's not like you're getting you scoring touchdowns out there based off your 40, Fizz. That's why people dropped them. So, but hey, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. If you were able to get him in the 3rd round, Fizz, well, then that was just easy money for you to be able to get him. So, Harold Fannin, where is he? Let me see where he on Keep Trade real quick just to see. Yeah, so he is the tight end 8, Fizz. He's the 95th overall player. So some of the players that are going around him, let me ask you this real quick, over or under. Would you rather have Harold Fannin, or would you rather have ahead of him? You have Derrick Henry, Jameson Williams, a 2028 late first, Jake Ferguson, Chase Brown, Kyler Murray. Lots of different names right there.
A lot of names, bro. My biggest question with Fannin, love the player, love the production, don't know who his quarterbacks are going to be. He can have a new quarterback tomorrow and have another one the next day. Like, at this point, we don't know what's going to happen, right? That's the biggest fear. If I'm a contending team, especially, yes, he's done good with Flacco. He's done good with Gabriel. If Shador plays, is Shador going to throw it to him? If Shador gets hurt and they get another, they might be trying to trade for Snoop Huntley again. Like, we don't know. So the biggest fear for trying to buy Harold Fannin is, one, the price, because the price I'm pretty sure is high in today's term of we all love to see the young rookies ball out. And two, who is the production going to come from when it comes to his quarterback? So that's my biggest fear with Harold Fannin right now currently.
The nice thing about Harold Fannin, if we go back to our rule of trying to have the top 3 on each team, Fizz, I think it's him and it's Quinshon Judkins, and I think it's just those two by themselves. So definitely don't want to have too many players on bad teams, and that's what certainly the Cleveland Browns are. They're probably going to be in QB hell from here till eternity because they still haven't figured it out. But David Njoku has not really disappointed all that much. So
Nope.
it could very well be the next David Njoku, the same way that Quinshine's the next Nick Chubb. Both of them have been absolutely killing it for the Cleveland Browns. So they might be, able to rise above their circumstances. But I definitely hear you about not really wanting to invest in the Cleveland Browns. Fizz, this is the next tier I have right here is the great and discounted tier. So Jake Ferguson is in this tier, and he is on the thumbnail. He has been having one hell of a season, Fizz, but if I'm going to my tiebreakers, I'm going this playoff schedule. It doesn't get any better than Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts has one that's very similar to Dalton Kincaid's, where he has top 10 matchups all the way up until the championship. And in the championship, he is unfortunately playing the LA Rams. So before that, though, it's the Jets, it's Seattle, it's Tampa Bay, it's Arizona. So that's your guy, man. Let me know what you think of Kyle Pitts, or I already know. Why don't you let the whole rest of the world know why Kyle Pitts should be a buy right now?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, man. I just said the same thing about Harold Fannin and his quarterback room. I don't know what's going on in Atlanta. I trust Michael Penix. I do trust him, but it's more of a hope than a dream right now because the inconsistency is out of this world that's going on in Atlanta. But I will say, I text you on Sunday and I said, man, as bad as Kyle Pitts is get talked about and his yards aren't Tyler Warren like, the man was 9 for 9. And if you look almost every single week, he's not like he's dropping the passes. He's, 8 for 5 for 8. 6 for 8, 7 for 9. Like he's right up there with this catch rate of every time the ball is near him, he's catching it. It's not a far pass, it's not a deep downfield pass, but he's catching what he's getting and he's not calling the plays. I just think, and especially in a premium PPR league, his floor is double digits. You know what I'm saying? His floor is 10, 11 points. So at the tight end position, that's all you can ask for. And I do believe to have a top 12 tight end in fantasy is like gold. So if he can finish out in the top 12, top 10, I can at least pat myself on the shoulder and say I showed up and I stayed locked in with my boy. But we going for top 6, man. Let's finish top 6 picks. All right, big dog. I'm gonna send this to you, man. Hook it up.
There we go. There we absolutely go. I think it is also, too, I share that same sentiment, Fizz, as far as the QB position being extremely frustrated. I mean, one week, their defense is beating the brakes off the Buffalo Bills, and it looks like, oh, the Falcons are going to be a team to be reckoned with. And then, previously they're losing to the Carolina Panthers 30-0. And then they're getting destroyed with Kirk Cousins at the helm. So, it's been a real up and down situation. So maybe you don't want to go for Kyle Pitts. Here's my solid but discounted tier, Fizz. And there's only one guy, and he's not my absolute favorite, but his playoff schedule is pretty crazy. Juwan Johnson, the guy that we fell in love with because of his mustache the first month of the season, Fizz.
Yeah.
He's got the best playoff schedule of actually, I take that back. He's got the second best playoff schedule of any of the tight ends that I looked at. Fizz, he is playing the Miami Dolphins, the Tampa Bay Bucks, the Carolina Panthers, the New York Jets, the Tennessee Titans. So the question, though, is, and what makes this a little bit more complicated, is that Taysom Hill coming back has definitely put a damper on Juwan Johnson. Yep. And then we have no idea since it was just announced this week.
Yeah.
What the shuck is going to be baby. The QB from here on out. Spencer Rattler, you had your flashes. It was not good enough. They need to see what they have in Tyler Shuck before they pick a QB next year, most likely. So, Fizz, what do you think of Juwan Johnson? I don't think he's that bad at his price.
Well, first of all, Rob, I'm so glad you just reminded me of that phrase, what the shuck. I'm about to tweet the New Orleans Saints and tell them to make a shirt, man, say what the shuck. All right, I'm going to see if they hit me back because I believe I was saying that all draft time and I've stuck to it. So I'm going to do that right now as soon as we get done with this. But I will just say Juwan Johnson, like you said, we fell in love with him for more of a gimmick than anything as far as what we wanted. But we saw production week by week by week, especially in tight end premiums. Chris Olave is still clearly the number one guy over there. We kind of slept on him in the offseason, but he's back. Seems like the favorable guy. But when you get behind that, Alvin Kamara is no longer, doesn't seem like he's even on the field half the time, let alone in the passing game. So Juwan Johnson, man, if you need, again, a tight end that can just get you through a week, get you a double-digit game. There are a lot of touchdowns scored in New Orleans, but I've seen targets go Juwan Johnson's ways. I mean, the guy's built like a tank, man. And if you could see a mustache like that through the visors, baby, it's time to hook it up. You know what I'm saying? So I do like Juwan Johnson, especially out of all the names you named today. I believe if you want to discount double check on a price for a tight end, this is the one you go to. Because the other guys, man, you might be spending some real money trying to go get them. So a lot of distaste for hearing the name Juwan Johnson and the New Orleans Saints from people. So if I got to buy low and spend some cheap money, man, I'm going to go Juwan Johnson way and see if we can make that one happen.
And the reason why we're going through all these names, Fizz, is because, everyone's leagues are different. Everyone has different managers in the league. So I'd rather give you guys as many solid options as I can just to see what materializes. So, Fizz, let's go into the bargain bin that you see at Walmart. This is Theo Johnson territory. This is A.J. Barner. But here's the most surprising one, Fizz. My 24th tight end. It is a lot lower than he's ever been before, Fizz, but you can't argue with the best playoff schedule of any tight end, Mark Andrews. Let me tell you about some of the matchups he has with weeks 13 through 17. He is going up against Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati again, New England, Green Bay. Those are all top 10 when it comes to points given up to the tight end position, Fizz. A.J. Barner, that has to be one of my, most proud wins that I've had during this offseason. I was getting him for fab. I was getting him for fourths. And he's been a very, very solid tight end. And then Theo Johnson, he's very interesting, Fizz, because, every week that goes by, there is a new New York Giant that's in the hospital ward, unfortunately. Prayers up for Cam Scadaba, our guy. We absolutely love what we were able to see for him. So hope for a speedy recovery from him. But now with no running game and no Malik Neighbors, it's going to be Wandale, Tyrone Tracy, and Theo Johnson as his main, pass catching targets. So I think he's worthy of being put on this list, Fizz. What do you think of those bargain bin players, Fizz? Are you going to buy any of those guys?
Yeah, my biggest thing where I say this to keep it short. If I wanted to buy one of those guys, the person that should be buying them the most is the one that has the quarterback. Trying to get that double stack. If you got Sam Darnold, if you have Jackson Dart, then you say, you know what? Let me just go get my guy because I'm going to have weeks where I might need to fill in and I need those double points. So if you want to look in the bin and get that dollar DVD, why not get two of them? You know what I'm saying? So had a double dip with your chip and go ahead, tie your rookie young tight end who's at the bottom of that list, tie him up with your QB, man. And hopefully you get double points when they score them touchdowns and big plays.
I do definitely agree with that. I think that is a great strategy, Fizz. Go with the guy if you happen to have Dart or Darnold or Lamar Jackson. Take a shot at one of these guys if you're contending. And then the last tier I have, Fizz, is the injury gambles. So these are gambles. You might come up snake eyes on it, but these guys are solid at the position. They're very talented, and I think they are worth the gamble. Brenton Strange was my 25th tight end, and George Kittle was my 29th tight end. So I think they would be ranked a lot higher if they have played more games, Fizz. That's what makes them a gamble. But they have very solid playoff stretches. And I believe both, at least Strange, I think, is coming back pretty soon. And Kittle already is back. So Strange, weeks 13 through 17. He's playing the Tennessee Titans, the Colts, the Jets, the Broncos, and the Colts again. And then Kittle, he is playing the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, he has a bye in week 14, but then plays the Tennessee Titans, the Colts, and Chicago. So those are very favorable when it comes to the playoff stretch. That's exactly what you need if you want to win a championship. What do you think of Strange, and what do you think of Kittle?
Yeah, I actually like those. I think Kittle was back, and I think he had a solid week this week. But if you're going to buy him, you need to this week, like literally this week. I think we're going to probably drop this. Today is Wednesday. Probably drop this maybe Friday morning, right? Let's just shoot for Friday morning. But regardless, Halloween. Let's do that on Halloween. You know, give some people something to enjoy on Halloween. Give them a trick, man, for they treat. But I'll just say, if I had to do it, I'm getting George Kittle ASAP, because Sunday, who knows? He might be Kittle. Like, you know, he might be all the way back. So, but I do like the Brent Strange one as well, because before the injury, he was one of those guys. And with all this disconnect with the BTJ conversation, go get another target that was already a locked-in target before his injury. So I like that Strange pick for sure, because he's easy to buy currently.
Yep. Those are all the buys that I had, Fizz. Those are the guys that I am willing to, put my name on, that my process likes, and that I think has some value, not just this year, but next year. Maybe outside of Kelsey, but man, if he's the number 5 tight end, I don't care if he retires at the end of the year.
Yeah.
He's been absolutely killing it. So is there any guys that you wanted to buy or you were thinking about that didn't make my list?
Well, I would just say, I say that for the end. I don't have a buy, but I did want to rapid fire some at the end. I know we have a list of sales. I want to go ahead and get through those. And you know how we do, man. We talk too much, right? We supposed to been out of here. So we're going to bless the people, man, with a good show for sure. We ain't going to rush it, but let's get to the sales. And at the end, I'll rapid fire a sale, a buy, and one of the guys that I haven't heard his name yet that I actually have a graphic of. So go ahead and get that started, brother.
Okay, so my sells, number 20 on my list, TJ Hawkinson. You talked about it earlier. We all thought he was the biggest value. Well, you know what? Whenever you hear that word value, just run the opposite direction, Fizz. So,
yes.
We learned that the hard way.
Go get good to bed or something. Go to sleep.
For sure. Yep. Pat Fryermuth is number 26 on my list. Elijah Arroyo, number 27. Evan Ingram, number 29. Cade Otton, number 31. Chig Okonkwo is number 32. And Johnny Smith, number 33. So a lot of these guys, what they have in common, they're in very crowded offenses, Fizz. Not only do they not have the production, some of them don't really have that stable of a QB position, and they're just not getting it done. So for TJ Hawkinson, would you rather have him, or would you rather have a second? Or maybe Kamara, Jacoby, Mike Evans, Wan'Dale Robinson, Shakir, or Downs? So those are some of the guys that you can pivot off of. Pat Fryermuth, you could pivot off for a third. Maybe I'd rather go to AJ Barner. Maybe I want a solid backup RB in Kamani Vidal. Maybe I want part of that Kansas City offense, Fizz. Maybe I want to go for Hollywood Brown. Pop Douglas, I think, is going to have some flashes, and he is on an up-and-coming New England offense. Elijah Arroyo, would you rather have him, or would you rather have 2/3? Elijah Arroyo, unfortunately, is stuck behind AJ Barner.
Yeah.
So I would rather have Kyle Monangai. I would rather have Dylan Sampson. I'd rather have Jalen Coker, Theo Johnson, Brenton Strange, Algier, or Rashad White over him. I think Arroyo is talented, but I'd just rather have those guys if I'm on a championship run. Evan Ingram, just like you said earlier, the only reason why he was called a joker is because he's been a joke this whole damn year, Fizz. And the joke's
he's a
on
villain
us.
on our team. That's for
sure. Exactly. So would you rather have him, or would you rather have a third, Fizz, or AJ Barner, or a lot of those players that I said? With Pat Fryermuth, Cade Otton, I think he's going to be a little bit tougher to sell. People really don't like him. You might just have to keep him, Fizz. But I think if you can get a third for him, I would be willing to do that. Same thing with Chig. Same thing with Jonnu Smith. So those are my sells. Those are guys that aren't really doing it for me and that I just kind of want to move off of, Fizz. So I don't know if you had any thoughts about the sells or if you wanted to go on the next thing.
Yeah. Well, we can I think we about to close out. I got a name of a guy that I want to bring up, but I will just say, when it comes to those injury guys, maybe you use one of those sales to go get one of those injury guys. You know, maybe the Brenton Strange one, that's especially the easiest one I could think, because he's on IR. So I think he maybe has like another 2 weeks, I believe, on IR. But if you wanted to move one of those guys that's on that list currently, let's just say Evan Ingram for a Strange, or maybe Pat Fryermuth. He had a good week 2 weeks ago. It was a blow-up game. Took another step back, but maybe this week Aaron Rodgers comes through for you. Give Pat Fryermuth a touchdown. He gets 11 points. Go send him for Brenton Strange, because somebody might think, okay, he's back, you know. So I think that buy for the injury guy like a Brent Strange is when I do like the most, because that's a sneaky play, man. I love getting people at their lowest value and tap them on the back, say, "All right, you on my team, man. Show up. I'm gonna throw you over this bridge." So, but I will say though, Rock, man, I do like the sell list, brother. I don't mean to get too violent. It's either the chainsaw or the bridge. Which one you want? I don't know, man. We're gonna let you figure it out. But I want to bring up a name that we didn't talk about, and I want to say that this might be, I'm not gonna say the biggest buy, but when we talk about number one hits, man, we talking about charting top 100 songs of the week. We talking about a guy that everybody can't stop saying. If you got his name right, I don't even know if you know how to spell his name right, but we're gonna talk about this guy right here, man. The young rookie, man. This guy Gadsden, man, he is a massacre in his own right. Thursday night, prime time, he did his thing. And it seems like week after week, we thought QJ was the receiver one. We thought Keenan Allen was back from the grave. All these players that we hyped up over the first couple of weeks. Okay, now it's time to back it up, baby. It's time for the young guy to do his thing. Rock, let us know why we should be spending all our money and all our fab and everything we got to risk it all for Gadsden. Or are you selling them? Which one are you doing with this guy right here, brother?
Fizz, I did have one share of him at the beginning of the year. I drafted him. I drafted him in the 4th round, and I gave him away for not much more than that before the season even started. You know the reason why I did that? Because when the depth chart first came out, oh, he's behind Conklin. Oh, he's behind Disley. Oh, also, too, there's like 4 or 5 other pass catchers at wide receiver. I did not think whatsoever, despite him, ranking decently high in my tight end process. I believe I had him as a top 6 tight end. He's basically a huge wide receiver that plays tight end, Fizz. So he is absolutely amazing. I do want to give him some of his flowers. So he did rank number 10 in my process. So he is no slouch. What you are seeing is backed up. It's just whether or not you want to pay that price. So when it comes to just some of his elite measurables, red zone targets, that's top 6 in the league. Yards per route run, 2.36. That's also top 6 in the league. His production is 3rd in the league, according to Hayden Winks. So he definitely has some things that will back him up. But Fizz, he has risen 159 spots on Keep Trade Cut. He is the 6th tight end. He is going behind Xavier Worthy. He is going ahead of Travion Henderson.
Wow.
So when you have a meteoric rise like that, when you're just shooting through this, through the sky like Oronde Gadsden, sometimes you have to temper expectations a little bit. And if I'm going to stick to our rule, or maybe just a guideline, maybe just call it a guideline. If you're not top 3 on your team, maybe you shouldn't go for you. Fizz, when I think of the Chargers, I think of Justin Herbert. I think of Amari Hampton. And I also think of, now here's the debate. Would you rather have him or Ladd McConkey? I'd rather have Ladd McConkey. So I don't want the 4th best guy.
I would too. It would have to be a major premium, like a 0.3 premium or something, 3-point premium. And even then, man, I think people slept on Ladd early, but I think you got to put a little bit of respect on the Ladd, man. So I will put him as number 4. But I will just say, Rock, don't forget, Gadsden weighs number 88, man. So you just got to remember,
that's
man.
True.
That's why he's a great, man. Just want to remind you.
I do appreciate that. I am all about the numbers too. Maybe I missed that on that number, his number on his jersey, but I do believe in those things. I think 86 is also a good number for tight ends as well, 88, 86. But yeah, he's valued as a first, Fizz. So if you really, really like the guy, go for it. And if you want to pay for a first, he's number 10 in my process. So I don't think you're going to be losing out on anything. Definitely going to be better in best ball. And here's the thing. Situations change, Fizz. The LA Chargers might look completely different. Keenan Allen might actually be retired. These other 2 tight ends might be completely gone. Yeah. So it's just like, it might be, him and Ladd McConkey. Those are like the 2 main pass catching threats. So it might even look better than next year. So if you really believe in Oronde Gadsden, I would not mind you sending a first for him. So
I don't mind that either, bro, because I feel like when it comes to a guy like Gadsden, when you find that diamond in the rough, sometimes it's worth just having fun, man. I'm with risking it all for the hype. I buy into the hype. I don't care, man. I will sell, I will buy. Yes, give me the gassing because this dude is on fire. I want to have some fun in this league, and I want to get that guy that takes me to the top, or he crash lands me, and I got to scratch my head and say, "Damn, you got me." You know what I'm saying? That those calls for great leagues to me. When you got one guy that risk it all, the other guy brags that I won this trade, the other guy is sad that he lost the trade, and then it reverses, and he thought he won, but he lost, and the other guy won. So those are the best parts of fantasy and playing Dynasty is the engagement in the league overall, behind the numbers and the stats and the feeling of getting your player. I just like knowing that I have a league that's engaged and we both can have a good conversation about whether I won or you lost. And that's what it's about, baby. So go get some gas in because he does wear number 88. And my favorite statistic of all time, Rock, is whoever wear 88. I'm gonna just keep getting them. All right. So that's what I'm rolling with, baby. That's my data point. That's what I love to preach, and that's what I love to watch, man. So these tight ends week, though, Rock, it is the tight end. I was gonna say Texas Massacre, but we only talked about one tight end from Texas. So this is the tight end massacre, man. But first of all, man, let's shout out my boy Rock, man, for this good work he put up because to let y'all know, man, my boy made this thumbnail right here. All right, this thing right here is fire. And hey, man, hopefully y'all appreciate it, man. So Rob, man, close us out, man. Let the people know why we was here, what we did, and why they should stay tapped in with us, brother.
Well, we came, we saw the tight ends, and we survived, Fizz. These are the tight ends that you guys are going to want on your rosters if you want to make a championship run, or if you're just rebuilding, Fizz. It ain't bad to bring on really good players onto your team. So whether you're on a championship run or if you're rebuilding, Fizz, get these tight ends on your team. Everyone needs to have a tight end on their team, whether you want to acknowledge them or not. So, yeah, I absolutely love being able to give you guys my process. I'm very proud of it, and I think it's very, very effective, but it's only one piece of the pie. So make sure that you tune in for all the other great content that we have at South Harmon. We have 3 different channels, and we have a piece of content that goes out almost every day. So we got you covered with everything that you need when it comes to your fantasy football. But yeah, me and Fizz, we're cooking up now multiple times a week. So we would really appreciate it if you guys like and subscribe. But absolutely love being able to go through this process with you, Fizz.
Well, I just say this, man. I appreciate you, man. You did all the hard work. I just showed up, brother. So I got an A on the project, and all I had to do was sit down, man. All right. So shout out my boy for cooking up, and you better subscribe, or we're gonna get the damn chainsaw out on you and cut you all up, man. All right. So Rob, man, let's get up out of here. Send them home with a good note, and they can stay tapped in. Look out for this Friday morning. Well, you be watching it. It is Friday. So happy Halloween. Go be safe tonight, man. Get your candy, man. Dress up. If you don't dress up, just make sure the kids are safe, man. That's what we care about. Get home safe. Have a good time. Don't drink and drive. Eat and inspect your candy before you open it up. And then that's the end of it, man. I'm up out of here, Rob. Let them know something, brother.
Don't say candy, man, 3 times in the mirror before you go to bed. Don't risk it. You never know. You just never know. So.
Well, when you knock on the door, don't say trick or treat. Just say, and we're going to end it like that, baby. All right. Catch y'all next week, huh? Chainsaw time, Rob. Thumbnail, trying to find it. All right, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all.
Hey, they wrote me off, I ain't write them back. Nah. Follow me, but don't double tap. I ain't liking that. You subscribe, I monetize. Now who's striking that? Wanna see the contract? Who got the rights to that? It's my story. I spent my whole life on life. Time's up. Shador Sanders with the rollie in the armor. I could do this shit with my eyes closed. The main attraction don't come at me with no side. I'm selling high, they wanna buy low.